everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we're just sharing some hot takes. It's something that we're going to try out. If you guys like it, let us know in the comments below, and we'll just keep giving y'all some hot takes from what's happening in our business right now or what we've learned, over the last couple of months. Cass, I know you said you've got something for us, so you want to hot take us away?
Hot take us away. Love that. Also, hot take might be extreme, but we'll see. Yeah, my biggest hot take, like from this past year, is that anytime that you're feeling completely overwhelmed by something, the best thing you can do to ease that overwhelm is to simply take action. Like, even if you don't feel like it, no matter how small the action is, the overwhelm will not dissipate. And in my experience, it continues to only build and feel more overwhelming until you do something. So, in my experience this past year, I have like a side thing that I'm starting up this year, Money Hungry Freelancers. And with that, I've been trying to post on social media a lot more. I've been a wallflower all of my life. I've never posted on social media before. So the thought of doing that felt so beyond my comfort zone and just so scary and overwhelming that I put it off like forever and ever. And I feel like I built it up to be like this really huge thing in my head. And then one day I was like, I'm just going to post something. Doesn't have to be good. Like, I'm just going to prove to myself that I can post something like for my business. So I did that. And then I kept doing that. And like each time it felt a little easier. Now within that, there have been periods where like I've dropped off and maybe haven't posted for 2 or 3 weeks and the overwhelm starts to kick back up. I'm like, oh, I can't post again. Like, it feels too scary. It feels too overwhelming. And then I'll once again be like, just post something. It can be anything. Like, just make it easy. And then the overwhelm starts to dissipate again. And I feel better. And that's just one example. Like, this process also happened when I was building my business and like trying to do my website, for example, right? Like, the whole process of building a website feels really, really overwhelming and scary. But even if you're just like, I'm going to create an outline of the pages that I want on my website. And then from there being like, I'm going to choose which platform I'm going to host my website on. Like, even just breaking it down into little steps like that, the overwhelm starts to feel a little less scary. So throughout everything, like especially in business, anytime that I feel overwhelmed by something, I've kind of trained myself to know that this overwhelm really isn't going to go away until I just start chipping away at the mountain. But I try to like give myself grace and pick the easiest thing possible that I could do. Next.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give a flip side of that too, which is as someone who is not a thinker and is very much so a doer. Did you guys ever watch SpongeBob? Yeah. Okay. So there's an episode where he has to write an essay about what he learned in boating school. And he's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And the only thing he's written is and it's in like really fancy, like calligraphy from like old school book. Right. And that's like the story of like, I'm going to post on LinkedIn. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for like 4 days. And then you don't hear from me again for 6 months. And I think the thing that I'm taking away is that like coming up with a process for like coming up with a process for like being more consistent has kind of been really helpful. So like social media posting is a great example. I've kind of been shooting from the hip and just like, I have an idea right now, so I'm just going to send it out and then I won't think about it anymore versus, we sat down and we came up with different content buckets and what day of the week we would post that on. And then now we're going to try and batch that content that way. There's a month of consistent content coming up, and I'm not just like randomly posting and really on top of it and then disappearing into the abyss like I have been lately. So if you feel like you're having a hard time with consistency, maybe ask yourself, what's the process that you've set up to help yourself be successful? Because it might not be that you're inconsistent. It might just be that the process you have isn't working. Shooting from the hip is not very consistent most often, unless you're a really prolific writer on Twitter.
Oh, I love both of those. First of all, I think like my hot take that I keep relearning is that like once you have some solid foundations in place, you know so much more than you think you do. I know I especially do this where it's just like everybody else has more answers than me. Everybody else like knows these secrets that like I somehow just haven't figured out, and they are successful because they know all these things I don't know, when really it's kind of like you said, Cass, it's just like you know enough, you just need to take the action and do the thing. So I think just like really trusting in some imperfect action, and then like you said, Kels, if you can like trust in some imperfect action and then also make a plan to implement it, Like that is what moves the needle. It's not being like the most experty expert in the specific field. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's maybe the hot take is there are so many people who know way less than you that are making a shit ton of money because they just don't have any problem like putting it out there. And that's not to say they're like being dishonest in any sort of way. It's just like, I know more than the people that need information from me. So I'm going to like make some reels, or I'm going to start an email list or do the thing. And I feel like I have wasted a lot of time in different aspects of my business because I was like, oh, I can't start an email list until I have all of these perfect ducks in a row, or I shouldn't really be posting every day until I have this amount of knowledge. And like, I don't know, if you just like wait for the perfect time or the perfect plan or the perfect whatever, like nothing's ever going to get done. So I guess that would be my hot take, is just like, and this is again, something I'll relearn and stumble upon and be dazzled by in a couple of weeks. It's like, oh, I do know the thing. I should just do it. But in this moment, it's clear to me. So I'm just throwing it out there.
That makes me think about when AI first came out and everybody was like, follow me, I'm an expert. And we're like, it's been out for 2 weeks for you too. Like you're not, how can you be an expert? You have the same tool I have had for 2 weeks. How would you know more than me? Why would I follow you for this? So yeah, people are gonna own what they want to own. So you might as well own your own lane. So yeah, that really resonated with me too, Katie.
Yeah, similar with Threads, right? It was like out for a day and people were like, here's what you need to know about Threads. Like, follow me. I have all this information. And it's like, this platform's been live for 24 hours. Like, calm down.
But also like props those people, because if you don't put your flag in the sand, then like nobody knows to even follow you. If that's what you want to make yourself, then do it. Also just like be a little aware of like of how you might be perceived, and also like good for you for doing it, but also.
Yeah, but there are so many themes, I think, that connect all three of our experiences. Like the first one, I always hear like Sarah and Jacob McMillan and like other coaches that are known with inside Write Your Way to Freedom. Like they always talk about how imposter syndrome never really goes away. Like even when from the outside it looks like you've had a lot of success, you're still going to have those moments where you're just like, I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like there are other people who are more experienced, more qualified, better at writing, better at marketing, better at posting on social media, fill in the blank. But you just have to accept the fact that that feeling is always going to be somewhere in the background, and you just have to choose to do the thing anyway. And then the other part is just showing up is going to get you like 80% of the way there. And it goes back to what Katie said of like, there are so many people that are making so much money and are so successful, not because they have a lot of knowledge on the topic or they're like these really seasoned, polished individuals, but it's just because they're pushing past the imposter syndrome and they're putting this stuff out anyway. They're not waiting until they feel good about it. They're just doing it and learning as they go. And that's really where like the fast growth comes in. Like, sure, you can take your time and sit with everything and like eventually you'll get there, but just doing the thing and being consistent and showing up and putting it out there is really where like the quick success lies.
I love that, Kels. Yeah. And just on top of that too, when you said like imposter syndrome never really goes away, 1,000% if you're continuing to grow and level up, but also like I have had moments like seasons where it does kind of go away because I really do feel like I have a good handle on this. And that is fun for a minute. And then it's boring. And then I'm like, I hate everything. I want to burn it down. I want to build something new. Cause it's like, you've created this like boring ass 9-to-5 job for yourself where you're just like entering data in a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? I mean, that's not really what I do ever, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's got the same kind of feel about it where you're just like, now I'm not trying anything new. I'm just showing up and typing. And it's really boring. So I do think that I have kind of maybe gotten over that idea that like there's this like sexy mountaintop that you get to where you're like, I'm now the expert and I'm not afraid of anything and I can do all the things and I never feel like I don't belong. Like I think it's an either or. I think you do get there and it's really not sexy and it's super boring, or you just like learn to get used to it. And I remember a long time ago Sarah saying that she was like talking to, I don't know if it was like a therapist or who it was, a coach, but saying that like she was so anxious. I'm just so anxious, blah, blah, blah. And this person pushed back a little and was like, I actually think anxiety and excitement are like really similar in how our brain like perceives and processes situations. So like, are you actually anxious or are you really excited? And that was a really like eye-opening moment for her. That like, maybe it's not this like big, scary imposter syndrome anxiety. Maybe it's really a lot of excitement around what you do. And maybe it's both. I don't know. But like, I do think there is a distinct lack of excitement when there is a lack of imposter syndrome. I will say that as well. And I guess I'd rather have both than neither.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
also think too that like there's a third situation where you have grown and you don't feel imposter syndrome. For example, us starting this YouTube channel, we were like, yeah, of course we can do it. It'll be great. And then we look at some of these questions and we're like, oh, like, can we answer those questions? I don't know. And we feel nervous about it, right? And like sharing our experience is like scary to put out there. Like starting the thing wasn't, but then we hit a wall along the way too. That's just like, wow, we just have to figure out how we like overcome this own little wall of imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I was also going to say, I've kind of joked about before that copywriting can be this gateway career where it just opens up your mind to all the ways that you can like make money and be your own boss. And so I think that, at least in my experience from the copywriters that I know, there comes like a natural point in time where you do get so comfortable with the type of copywriting that you're doing that you then want to branch out and maybe add like other types of revenue streams to your business. And so like this has happened with me. It's also happened with Kelsey and Katie, I think for you too, where like we were copywriters. That was our full-time job for years and years and years. And now we're trying to maybe start up like digital products and become more like outward facing like authorities on certain topics. And so with that comes like this whole other thing. But yeah, to echo Katie's point, you do get to a point where you're so comfortable in your business, but I feel like that's naturally when you start looking for more excitement, like you're looking for ways to level up and grow a bit more. And so you're going up the spiral staircase, looking down on it from another vantage point. But then like some of those feelings do start to kick back up again, just with other things. And then it's like a process of pushing through that. And that's like the overarching way that you grow. So
Maybe imposter syndrome is just looking over the side, like over and over and over again. You know what I mean? That you're like, this is pretty
Yeah.
high. I don't know if I can go any higher. This is pretty
Yeah.
high. I don't know if I can go any higher, you know? But the reality is like you usually do. And something that feels really scary 5 steps up can be just as scary as something 15 steps, 20 steps, 400 steps up, because you're still looking over the side like, this is a long ways to fall.
Yeah. Kelsey, I love that visual. Just us peeking over the edge.
Thanks so much for tuning into our video today. I'm Kelsey and this is Katie and Cassidy. And together we talk about what it's like to be in the program Write Your Way to Freedom to help you determine if it's the right fit for you or not. If anything from the videos today resonated with you or made you decide like, yes, this is it, I want to sign up, it would mean the world to us if you used our referral code. For full transparency, we do get a little bit of a monetary kickback every time somebody signs up that we split between the 3 of us. And we also make a donation to World Central Kitchen, which you can find out more information on via the link in our notes. So thanks so much for tuning in and check out the rest of our questions. We've probably answered the one that you have. Bye.